skin problems, right? Me and my daughter are sitting here laughing about light skin problems. Right. My feet are translucent. Just closed the blinds because I don't need to look any more bright than I do. Okay. I'm posting this message on my general Facebook page because I have a lot of clients who inbox me. We're going to put this on YouTube, and we're also going to put it in the customer group. I'll forward it there. But on my website, I give you guys formulations and instructions. So it describes every formulation and traditional hoodoo ways of using my products. Now, keeping that in mind, okay? A lot of people are out here practicing spiritual work, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it, hoodoo, on their own. This is the thing. And I've seen this across all cultures. You know, you've got some people who are very much sticklers for tradition. But you got to understand, traditions. So good morning, everybody. I'm trying to do this in a hurry for you guys because I'm working, I'm cranking, and Rakia's over here cranking. We're cranking. You got to understand that tradition was usually formed by working with someone in your family. You know, like everybody used to swear their grandma taught them hoodoo, or by working with a mentor. So back in the day, and you know, there's this big argument out in witchcraft and conjure in general about being a natural witch. Now, I do believe that certain people have certain abilities. Like, for example, all diviners are not witches, or not all root workers. If you're a root worker and you don't do divination, I've got issues with that. Some people just make the products. And, you know, one of the biggest things I've learned about magic is it depends. That was one of the first things that my mentors taught me. If I am a voodoo practitioner, and in my particular voodoo house, there are rules about how I set up my ancestor altar. Those rules are in Santeria, Ifa, Candomblé, Yoruba. What in the hell is that? Okay, I don't even know what's beeping. But anyways, your phone's ringing. They have specific rules about how you set up certain things. If you're not in a practice, ancestral veneration is probably one of the loosest things you can do. And they say have a white cloth, have a candle, have a white candle, a glass of water, maybe some flowers, preferably white, depending on who you're talking to, and the things that your ancestors require. After that, it's your relationship with your ancestors, how you venerate them. Excuse me. Because even though in voodoo I have certain rules, you know, my mom always let me know that we make personal relationships with our spirits, and those include your ancestors. And, you know, while Azili Freda doesn't drink, she has people in her company and her consorts that do. Okay? And those may be the spirits that are coming to you. But that's a completely different ball of wax than folk magic. And what people don't seem to understand about folk magic and the internet, good morning, everybody, is that you're going to find all kinds of stuff. You're going to find all kinds of stuff about hoodoo, voodoo, all these different religions. Some of it is going to be true. Some of it is not. The best thing that I can tell you about research is to continue to read books, talk to people who actually practice, and also compare all these different websites that you're looking at. And what you're going to find is some consistencies across the board. But understand that this is going to involve, especially if you're a solitary practitioner, for you to do that research. So when I have my Hoodoo 201 class, I make everybody research their formulation. They look at several different, discernment, divination. There are so many layers to this. And see, what happens is people just go and purchase things off the website and expect me to sit in inbox and tell them exactly how to use them. And that is impossible. That is impossible because everybody's practice is going to be different. Even within the same religion, and you're going to have different houses, you're going to have different taboos, you're going to have different requirements. And if you aren't even at that level yet, then it's really going to be difficult for you. That's why we tell you that you need teachers and mentors, and I teach classes, and people should initiate. Everybody's needs are going to be different. Some people are never going to initiate. Okay? Thank you. The bright-eyed discernment. And I make formulations for that too. In traditional witchcraft, now you have to understand, due to the cultural appropriation of hoodoo, we've been taught that hoodoo is Christian and therefore removes a lot of the elements of what people call witchcraft that are actually part of the practice. That includes astrology, that includes crystals, that includes working with the phases of the moon. The only thing, hoodoo has been so whitewashed that the only thing that I've been seeing is the days of the week that you should do magic. But the bottom line is the information is out there. You can compare several different websites that tell you when to take a cleansing bath, or when to do money work, or when to do love work. And when you see those consistencies across the board, there's your answer. But that's something I can't do for you. And no magical company, no magical practitioner who actually especially has curriculum and built curriculum and charges for classes is going to sit up there and hold your hand and walk you through the spell work. I am one of the few people that I am aware of that actually gives instructions about how to use each product on my website. Basic hoodoo instructions. But that doesn't make accounting for if you are practicing aspects of traditional witchcraft. It most certainly does not apply to your personal practice. The imperative word here being personal, So, and then that's another thing. People get up all in these groups and they'll tell you all kinds of stuff. Some of it's really good information. I suggest Daisy's group, Witches Brew. I have a group for my customers that the customers themselves and the admins will chime in if somebody has a question. But what I ain't gonna do is sit up and if you buy a bath from me and I've given you those basic instructions, is to walk you by your hand through this process. Right, exactly. You gotta do the research. You can be a solitary practitioner, but if you want the world according to Big Liz, then take Big Liz's classes. And understand that I'm not the only teacher out there, okay? Understand that what I was taught by my mentors, because my grandmother spoke to dead people. She had a worker that she went to. She was psychic, but I did not learn root work from grandma. I didn't learn root work from great-grandma, other than the things that culturally Black people do in their home. And you're right, your intuition, your discernment, your divination. And yes, there are traditional things through varied practices that are going to tell you how to do the work. What you should do on a Monday, what you should do on a Tuesday. They tell you the colors, okay, for certain candles or, color correspondences for magic. All that stuff's available on the internet. And what you have to do is try to cipher through the bullshit. That's a hard way to go, but it is a satisfying way to go when you're developing your own personal gnosis, which is your own personal practice. And that's okay, as long as you're not walking around here talking about, I'm practicing traditional hoodoo. Because honest to God, traditional hoodoo has been corrupted and lost. And so anybody's doing any damn thing that they want to. And you know what? Hey, if that, and it's always been my opinion, if that shit works for you, you knock yourself out. Because there are lots of times, even within my own practice, even within my own products, where I've been spirit-led to do something differently than what I was taught or what I read on the internet. So when you're, when you're buying from me, you're buying my intuition, my guidance. Give me boo-boo. I'm trying to keep her away from me because she's sick. She got a cold, but I love her. Say hi, boo-boo. This girl's so big, y'all. She's wearing, woo, say hi, Chucky. We're at 6 to 9 months. This girl just turned 6 months old. 9 to 12 months. Use this to biggins. I love these little things where they got their feet in the little packets, in the pouches. They look like Sweet Pea from right, Sweet Pea from Popeye. Remember the baby that used to crawl everywhere? So yes, you do have to engage in the practice. Auntie Tiara said hello. Did you poop? Or did you just fart? Stinky butt. But so anyways, you cannot just jump up and jump into this stuff. Y'all don't seem to understand. I worked for my mentors for 2 years. And all I made was some titty grease. Okay? And I helped them process their orders and learned in the process. That's the kind of work I've done. People who live locally, they'll come here and learn enough to be dangerous by helping out here in the store. And then they go off and do their own shit. And if it works for them, God bless them. But when I tell you that this work ain't like that, it's years, will you text your sister back and tell her, yes, somebody will pick her up at 3? Tell her we have to do the gingerbread house. So in any case, yes, learn enough to be dangerous. You can't come and just spend a few weeks with a mentor. Yes, there's Nikki Brooks, baby. Oh, Nikki's sick too. You can't come and just spend a few weeks with a mentor and expect that all of this knowledge will just be downloaded. Right. The day you stop learning is the day you die. So I'm going to start sending this video to clients when they send me messages about what day of the week should I take my bath, what moon should I do it under. The kid just went, bitch. Because it does. It slows me down from the other things that I have to do. The reality of the matter is I charge for classes. And, Big Liz's curriculum is Big Liz's curriculum based on my cumulative knowledge through years of learning. But it may be different for you. And so I cannot answer all of the questions you have about how you're going to do your spell work. If you are that lost and you don't want to do the research, then like with everything, you can pay for it. You can either pay for it to take a class. Right, you do what the ancestors tell you to do, and that's cool if you have that connection. Some people don't even know how to establish that connection. And I talk about that. I talk about that in Hoodoo 101. I talk about it in all of my Hoodoo classes. So, when you're not working within an initiated tradition, you're literally freeballing, for real. And that's okay for some people. I'm not condemning people who don't initiate, but don't be out here lost, tricking around with magic, and then find yourself, most of this stuff is not going to put you in a bind. Most of the stuff that I sell is so that you can live your best life. So you can uncross yourself, so that you can get money, so that you can find love. And right, different practices, different regions, all of that. All of these things matter, okay, to your practice. But, everybody's distracted by the baby cheeks. My alarm just rang. Sorry about that. Woo, anyways, you all, I have to go, but I just wanted to tell you all that you should, exactly. It's a threefold. Yes, folks just be out here with no drawers on, doing whatever the hell they like. And you know what? Depending on what you're doing, there's an adventure to that. It's like a science. I have a hypothesis. Let's do the test and let's see if it works. And as long as you ain't fucking around with somebody else's life, do what works for you. But the reality of the matter is you're gonna have to study the work. Somehow, some way, if you want to feel comfortable doing the work. There are some people, and I'm telling you, they got a spiritual download. They know what to do. They do it. It works for them. God bless them. I'm all for that. I'm all for it. But the biggest thing is independent learning. So, you can get that, but you got to have a combination. So the reality of the matter is if you're doing this stuff and you don't know what the hell you're doing and you're lost, we can't do that in inbox. Ain't nobody got time for that. Take a class. You can go in some of these groups if you want to. I only suggest Daisy's group. Otherwise, you might get some type of information that would be detrimental to your practice. I don't know that many magical Facebook groups out here that I can say there ain't a whole lot of bullshit and mess going on. But that's also my personal opinion, you know. And I do understand that people value my personal opinion. However, just fucking read. Please read. Where you going? You can't even walk. Can you just sit here and be pretty for a minute? I don't know where she's trying to go.
She's trying to look at herself while holding your coat.
You know, and people think that, you know, and that sadly, and this is due, once again, how we look and frame the legacy of slavery. Don't you think that our ancestors did not know how to read? Our ancestors are the oldest DNA in the world. And we knew how to read our language. We knew how to read and write in our languages. Okay? And so they always have tried to make us associate reading and studying with being a European. That don't make no damn sense. Reading, studying, being smart. I mean, how they say they're so articulate. Why not? Why would somebody expect us not to be educated and articulate? But when we stop to talk about our folk magic practices and folks get mad because they got to go in and read a book or research things in depth, there's so many things out here. There's so many things you can research. And yes, some of them are going to be wrong. That's why research matters. And if you don't know what the hell you're doing, either take some classes or do the work. But if you're a solitary practitioner, you're on your own. And that's okay. I'm never going to tell. My job as a vendor and purveyor of fine magical products is for me to put magic in your hands. I really don't have a lot of desire to do spell work for people. Usually because people be on some fuck shit. They don't cooperate. They undo the stuff that the practitioner is trying to do for them, or they mess something up. And so my idea, and I can't control you remotely, or I wouldn't want to try. Let's just put it that way. It's not worth the effort. So you are always going to be on your own unless you get you some education. And since grandma went to the church and told you that tarot cards was evil and that all that foolishness was evil while she jumped around and rolled in the floor, got possessed, spoke in tongues and anointed you in holy oil, but somehow all this other stuff that we've been doing that has kept us alive for centuries is evil. Well, then you can't learn from grandma, right? Because grandma has been brainwashed by the church. So where you going to go? You got to go somewhere, you know? And so that's what I'm trying to tell you all. You know, there's witchcraft in every single religious, spiritual, you know, people don't like to call it witchcraft. I don't give a goddamn what you call it. But the reality is, the matter is, we are not learning from grandma anymore. So you as a practitioner, you're going to have to learn. You are going to have to decide for yourself. Am I going to wing this shit? Okay. Knock yourself out. Am I going to learn how to divine and trust my intuition? You better. And am I going to take courses from people who have been verified in the community as good and honorable and respectful teachers? And she said, hey. and so I take classes from other practitioners, you know. If your magic just works, it works. But if you're a newbie and you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground and you ain't got your pot to piss in, much a window to throw it out of, as far as magic is concerned, find you a teacher. And I can only teach so many people, but I promise you, I am going to put up the new dates for hoodoo classes for January, probably starting tonight. Some of the ones from January. I'm going to be looking at teaching on the new moon for manifestation, okay? Looking at when retrogrades fall and how they will affect the calendar. And that's how I'm going to make my class schedule, you know? I used to make my schedule based on when it worked for me. And sometimes it doesn't work. And what I can tell y'all is y'all be begging begging for these classes, and then you don't sign up. I'm not going to record, because I would like to stay, I like to meld distance learning with tradition. Tradition includes a live person being there to answer your questions and to talk to you and to walk you through the process. Okay? And yes, you always have to keep learning. I have experienced practitioners that take my class just to get a different viewpoint on how to practice the magic. But, you gotta do it either one way or the other. So you can either go the hard way, and that's fine, by doing self-discovery and self-learning, or you can have some guided meditation. You can have some guided learning by a facilitator such as myself. And in the end, you're still going to make your own decisions about your magic. Are you about to sneeze? Or are you just about to jump out of my lap? But this is serious, because I'm tired, y'all. I cannot be a productive person and purveyor of fine magical goods when I'm answering basic witchcraft questions in my inbox. You're going to have to take the time to learn it if you're serious about this. Now, will great harm come to you if you take your broke no more bath, say, on Tuesday? No. But the reason why they have days of the week for the magic and color correspondences and certain herbs and roots and planetary alignments and gender assignments is because of the way they all work together. And if you want to figure all of that out on your own, bless you. If you want somebody to help you, I'm not an expert on all things astrological, but there are people out here who teach those types of things. And even then, I don't know if you've all ever been in a university class where somebody's giving you misinformation. Like when I was in anthropology, I don't know if this has changed in the past 30 years, but when I was in anthropology, physical anthropology, my instructor advised me that Africans above the Sahara were considered Caucasoids. And I was like, for real? An African is Caucasoid? Because that was their scientific way to lay claim to the cradle of civilization. That white people did it. That there's no way that black Africans could have done that. I knew the subversive racism in that assertion right there. Okay? And so I disagreed with my professor, and he got pissed off because, he has a PhD in anthropology. Yeah, but they taught you wrong and they taught you racist. And so you don't have to listen to everything an instructor tells you. Take what you can use and move the fuck on. Yeah, they wanted credit for ancient Kemet. That's exactly what they want. Mm-hmm. And they're probably still doing it to this day.
Fucking shame.
Right, faded blacks. That's crazy. So not every instructor is going to be right all the time. I've revised my viewpoints and my playing card divination class. I'm going to be teaching that completely differently in the future. Does that make what I taught before wrong? No, I'm just going to be looking for it from a deeper and a different perspective. And that's what you have to do as a practitioner. So if you're a sole practitioner and you're lost, get some education, one way or the other. But please, 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 don't think that I can answer all of life's questions for you in an inbox. As a matter of fact, I suggest that you schedule a spell work consultation if you really, really want some personalized information as far as what you should be doing in your spell work to achieve a particular goal. And so that's the thing. I make spell work consultations available, magical mentoring sessions available, and classes available, which means that what I ain't gonna do, okay, is to continue to hold your hand in my inbox. I'm honestly considering shutting down the ability for people to message me. But honestly, that's sometimes people's first contact, and they're usually trying to schedule readings or whatever else. But it can be really frustrating when it's like, I don't know you from Adam. I don't know how to tell you what to do your work. So, and this is the video I'm going to send people when they ask me questions like this, because I'm tired. And I got shit to do today. So you all have a blessed day. Talk to you later. Bye.